Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. I'm Gopal.
And my name is Bhaktarupa.
You sound like you've got a kind of accent, Bhaktarupa. You sound kind of different. What's going on?
No, it's just a typical Neath, I think.
Oh, right, yeah. You've been spending too much time distributing books in Neath. You've got this accent.
I'm just kidding. My name's Anna. This is Nicole.
Otherwise known as Nikki.
Otherwise known as Nikki.
Mhm.
Gopal and Bhaktarupa have
They've been decommissioned. They weren't doing their jobs properly, so we've taken over. Yeah, don't worry, they're all right. They'll be out again soon.
Yeah, we'll let them out the closet.
Yeah.
When they're ready.
Anna, why don't we introduce ourselves a bit first?
Okay. So, yeah, my name's Anna. I am one of the ladies here in T. Krishna Cymru. I just actually learned how to say Cymru properly.
I thought it was Cymru.
I thought it was Cymru. We're not from here.
No.
So, no, it's T. Krishna Cymru. So, yeah, I moved here maybe like 2.5 years ago. I was living in the ashram for a bit, and now I live with my husband just outside the temple, basically. And Nikki is...
Who am I? I met devotees around this time last year. I started to come to programs. What?
It was in September, so
in September.
And a half ago.
Okay, yeah, year and a half ago is when I first met devotees. And now they can't get rid of me. So yeah, I've been around.
Living in the ashram.
Yeah, living in the ashram. Thank you for that. Kind of blanked there. I'm living in the ashram.
And you're studying at university.
Yeah, I'm in my second... I don't want them to know that. Sorry, guys. They'll edit that bit out.
Why people appreciate intelligence. So she's in her second year studying psychology.
Shy. Yeah, at uni. And my plan is to stay with T. Krishna forever. There we go.
With you on that. There's no better place to be.
There isn't. So today we're going to read a bit from a book. It's talking about satisfaction and when we feel truly satisfied.
Yeah, and how the path of Krishna consciousness is what, really gives you that satisfaction that you're looking for and longing for your whole life. I found a little segment in a book from Bhakti Tirtha Swami called Surrender, which, if you'll bear with me... Oh, yeah, that's the paragraph. So I thought we could kickstart with this, and it gives us some sort of trajectory for the rest of the podcast. So he says, the Vegas, or pushings of the senses, are all deeply connected with desire for self-stimulation and pleasure. As we become more and more selfless, we will naturally experience less agitation due to our successful endeavour to remove ourselves from the centre of our personal universe. When we stop placing top priority on our physical needs, we can address the real self, which does not need anything material to experience happiness. To what degree are we experiencing mental agitation, food cravings, and sexual anxieties? The dominance of these disturbances in our lives is concomitant with our selfishness. Most of us are attuned to satisfying needs that are separate from our connection with the Lord. Know that when we are properly connected to Krishna, all our needs will be satisfied in full. I'm still learning how to subtly cough on a podcast because these mics pick up everything.
There's no hiding.
So, yeah, what I was thinking, that's nice because there's actually a lot of our dissatisfaction, boredom in life comes from because we think ourselves to be the centre of our universe. And, we're actually living very selfish lives like this, and the whole process of bhakti, which you and me are now kind of engaged in the beginning stages of, is dealing and trying to uproot this sense of selfishness that just kind of keeps us in this very low state and this kind of utter boredom and anxiety.
Yeah.
With the world. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, and there's that beautiful painting actually where Krishna is embracing one of his devotees who've just made it back to the spiritual world. And he's like, where have you been? I've been waiting for you.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
You know, for us, we're down here like in the material sphere, just, you know, struggling for existence and still trying to make it all about us though, somehow, even though we're miserable. And Krishna's just up there, you know, patiently waiting.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Like, we're all here to some degree, and people listening are listening because they've probably felt Krishna, or, you know, maybe not, they might not feel like it's a person, but they felt like a reciprocation. They felt God take a step towards them. And that's something you can feel, right? You can feel palpably. It's not just like mental concoction. You can tangibly feel like God's hand. Like, so, Krishna. Yeah. You can tangibly feel Krishna's presence sometimes. And I mean, that's why I'm here. And that must be why everyone's here, because you get a taste of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
what was it like for you in those beginning stages when you were coming along that, you know, really made you think like, you know, okay, there's something special going on here, you know?
Yeah.
Feeling Krishna's reciprocation in the first stages.
Well, if we start from like, I started coming along, and I remember thinking, because I was really, really into my mindfulness meditation at the time, and I was like into the Buddhism, and the basic, like, the idea of Buddhism is that there is no identity. So I was getting really, really deep into this philosophy that we're all one kind of thing, and there's no difference, and what I see outside is just a reflection of what's going on inside. So I was like, kind of like, my consciousness was quite scattered in that way. I believed everyone was like the same, or like we were all one basically. But I remember coming to like a Wisdom Wednesday and thinking, oh, this is like, just like feeling like there's something really different about these people. There's something really different. There seems to be more agency. They just seem to be floating above the humdrum of life kind of thing. And then, but I was still, you know, really unsure. I didn't believe in God, but, you know, I believed in like the universe kind of manifestation kind of thing, but I didn't believe in a person behind it all. But then I was really struggling at the time, just like new to Cardiff, trying to find my feet here. And I used to go to the climbing gym, and I remember like waiting for the bus on my way to the climbing gym, just being so fed up, just being like, oh, please, because I was into the manifestation. So I was thinking, I just really want to feel like, okay, today when I get to the climbing gym, I really want to just meet someone that like meet like the people that are going to become my group of friends here. Like, I really want to go there and have a really nice time and meet some, like, have a genuine connection with someone.
Climbers. I always thought they were the epitome of cool, the rock climbers.
And then, like, at that moment, I felt like this massive, like, rush of, like, kind of like just this feeling that my prayer had been answered.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like my vision changed. It's like suddenly I just got like a wave of bliss that doesn't feel like anything else you feel. And I was like, okay, I won't think too much of that, you know. But then I turn up, and then who's there sat? Who's there sitting?
It's me. It's me. And I've never been to the rock climbing gym. It's just for some reason I went that day.
And I kind of met you once or twice before at the Wednesday program, so actually, I recognised you.
If you remember, you actually came to volunteer in the cafe that day.
Oh, right.
So it was as you were travelling to the rock climbing gym, thinking, will I meet my destiny? I was actually talking to my friend on the way there, saying there was this girl that was volunteering in the cafe today. She's really cool, you know. And then, you just rock up at the rock climbing centre, and that was it. Like, I was like, okay, Krishna, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
And that was that, really. But I was thinking, like, these mystical things just start happening when you actually, you know, are in a bit of a state of desperation. You're looking for Krishna, but you don't know you're looking for Krishna. And these really trippy things keep happening. And, if anyway, it's amazing how you're given these really mystical experiences in the first stages that really kind of confirm your faith, or confirm that, okay, this is the path I should be going.
Yeah.
And you don't really get those sorts of like super zingy moments when you're exploring other paths, because that's what I found anyway. It was always like, I don't know, when I'd kind of got involved with, different spiritual groups or whatever, I didn't get that like sense that my heart was like, okay, I feel at home.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was lacking that genuinity. That's definitely not a word, but
I know
that's what it's lacking.
Yeah, it's also lacking this experience. It's like a lot of other things. It's like, I don't know, there's in other religions anyway. I don't know, but what I'm saying is, like, you can palpably feel reciprocation. It's not like in the mind. It's like you can feel it in your heart, as you were saying. But I like the story of what you were telling me about, like crazy, like mystical happenings. When, what was it? You were in Australia and then you couldn't go back. Can you tell that story?
Oh yeah, that was my very first like moment when I was like, okay, Krishna's real. Yeah, we had been. I'll tell a little bit of the history. Says a bit of a backstory. Yeah, me and my friend went, as you do. You go backpacking and you're traveling around trying to find the meaning of life. Not doing a very good job at it. But we had been traveling for almost a couple of years, and we got to Australia and still hadn't really found anything of meaning. And we were looking for somewhere to stay so we didn't have to pay for somewhere to sleep, because it was so expensive suddenly in Australia. And we were trying to apply for all these places. They're called workaways, where you can volunteer in exchange for like food and a place to sleep. And we kept getting denied from all these awesome places. Well, what I thought was super awesome, like, and then the only place that accepted us was the Hare Krishna farm, which is in the kind of like, it's about an hour outside of Melbourne, and very simple. Like, there's just maybe 5 or 6 people there.
Really?
And I remember getting in, his name was Manny Griever, quite Manny Griever's pickup truck. And I said, so what is Hare Krishna? And he goes, well, we have cows.
And yeah, you're sold. And that was you surrendered then and there.
Then and there.
Okay.
No, that's what I realised was a theme with devotees, is like, they won't really tell you anything.
I mean, it's a big question.
That's what I mean, but like it's all very like concealed, and that kind of adds to the mystique, because you know that they're like happy and experiencing something that you're not, but you don't know what it is, because it's not very like, I don't know, it's not like overtly in your face. They're so normal, devotees, and they're so like, I don't know, everything's so natural. And anyway, I think that's why you fall in love with them.
Yeah,
so quickly, because anyway, they're the best people you've ever met, and they're not trying to push anything on you, basically, because they're actually satisfied in themselves.
They're actually probably the most normal people I've ever met. Yeah, in some sense.
Yeah. So yeah, we're on the, where did we go? Yeah, on the farm. We ended up staying in Australia for about a year or so, and we had to do this really horrendous farm work. We work in a wine bottling factory.
Wait, was this... No, that wasn't at the Hare Krishna. That was beforehand, was it?
No, this was afterwards. So we were with the Hare Krishnas for a bit, and I was kind of living in Melbourne and living as much of a materially successful and in a very enjoying spirit, basically. But at the same time, I had the Hare Krishnas texting me, and I didn't really want to go. They were holding like kirtan nights in the city and whatnot, and I didn't want to go because I thought, okay, it's really cramping my style, and they just want to talk to you about like spiritual things and how you're feeling. And at the time, I just wanted to like blot all that out and then just like live this life that I'd
You're living your
vision.
Australian beach girl life.
Beach girl life, So, I'd go to like the Bhagavad Gita class, for instance, because I actually ended up being like the most regular person going, which I didn't realise. But at the time I thought I was just going because I couldn't say no when they asked me to come. Not very good at that. But then actually, they gave us some beads.
Okay.
And me and my friend, we started to chant 1 round a day. And we were working in 2 different, very like low class, mode of ignorance places. Like I was in like a fish and chip restaurant, and my friend was in like this huge bar thing. But we'd come back.
Just like kind of like grimy. Not grimy, but like,
I don't know what to call it. Not grimy, it was like where you'd go if you were someone of, what's the word I'm looking for? You're a well-to-do person, this is where you went to drink and this is where you went to eat. So you're immersed in that kind of atmosphere. But we'd come back on an evening and we'd be like, I've had the best day ever. And my friend would be like, me too. So then very quickly we felt like we linked the chanting, the japa, to having a really good time. So we kept doing it, and then, I'd be really jealous of my friend because she'd be like, I chanted 3 rounds this morning. So there was that kind of healthy competition going on. We left Melbourne and started to work in this wine bottling factory, and we had a few of Prabhupada's books, and it was really, what I personally found is a very quick process of becoming convinced of the philosophy, because I was in such a miserable situation materially all of a sudden. And I was reading Prabhupada's books, and it was explaining why the world is the way it is, why this situation is miserable. And I couldn't believe that it was all there in the books, like there was a reason behind everything. I was fairly convinced then that I wanted to be involved with this Krishna thing somehow.
Right, so it was like you went to the Bhagavad Gita classes, something kept you going.
It was
started
just
chanting, the logic.
It was the logic that got me.
So what, like, do you remember like a particular, do you remember a particular argument, or like was it just a general how logical it all was, or was it one particular thing?
I don't know. There were times when it was a particular thing, but it was the book Science of Self-Realization that really did it for me. I really appreciated having that kind of question and answer response. It was the fact that I couldn't find fault.
Right.
That I realized, these books of, what I'm reading is very special. It's timeless, and I'm actually feeling some sort of reciprocation. We started to offer food on a little altar.
No way.
And it was just that act of like, you don't want to freak the housemates out, so you'd sprint with your little bowl into your bedroom to your makeshift altar, and then like bring it back and just hope to God none of them had like stuck their fingers in the food and tried it. So in that way, building faith. And it was when we left Australia to take like a little holiday in Malaysia before going back to Australia. So we'd applied for a 2nd-year visa, and then just out of nowhere the visa was denied. So it'd been approved before? No, we had applied for it.
Okay.
So we'd applied for a 2nd-year visa, and then we got the response back that it'd been denied. Like our farm work that we'd done 5 months in this wine bottling factory didn't count.
Right.
Even though for many other backpackers it was fine. So it made no sense. And it was such a distressing situation, because our whole life was like, well, we're going back to Australia for another 2 years. And all of a sudden we weren't allowed to go. And that's when I was like, oh no, Krishna's real. This is like one of those things I've been reading about where, you have a plan for your life. But Krishna like interjects and steers you in a different way.
Because were you planning on going back to Australia, like doing like the farm work as you were doing before? Were you planning on like settling in Australia? Were you just thinking like, just these 2 years I'm going to enjoy? Like, what was the plan?
The idea was to keep enjoying, but with Krishna consciousness involved, because I'd realised, I had this analogy of the time when I look back now, it just sounds a bit bonkers. But I had no problem telling all the devotees about it. I thought it was an amazing realization. It was that, like, life is like a cheesecake. And it's okay. The cheesecake tastes nice, you know. But then Krishna consciousness adds the biscuit base. So, you get me? So it's kind of like, now the cheesecake's even better. Basically, like, I've added Krishna to my life.
Right.
My life is a lot better. But again, it's just still for my enjoyment, you know?
It's still just a cheesecake.
Yeah.
I mean, cheesecake's great, but
Yeah.
it doesn't give you lasting happiness.
Doesn't give you lasting happiness, no. I didn't realise there was this whole life behind Krishna consciousness that involved, like, service and surrender, and there's this whole mood of, you know, being, you know, serving others instead of serving yourself. Hadn't cottoned on to that yet because I hadn't been with like an extended period of association with devotees. You know, I hadn't captured that mood. I just liked the books, liked the food, and had felt so that's the importance of, if you're into Krishna consciousness, you need guidance. Otherwise, you know, you have this idea of what Krishna consciousness is, but if you really dig deep and look at it, it's just another kind of fabrication of, how can I keep enjoying to the full?
Yeah.
And thanks, Krishna, for kind of facilitating a little bit of extra enjoyment for me.
Right. Yeah, I think I have, like, that made me, as you were speaking, it made me think of quite a few things, but I think you should finish your story. So, like, because you had this plan of, yeah, I'll just go back to what I was doing before, and I'll just, like, you know, live my life as I expected to live it, but I'll just chant as well, and I'll just do a bit of Casey as well on top of it.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna, like, live in a van, and we'd be like, yeah, we'll distribute books from our van, and just completely clueless, basically.
Right.
But yeah.
Then what happened then?
Yeah,
so the visas were denied.
Denied. So we thought, okay, well, we need to go somewhere that where we can make some money. You know, like, we need somewhere where you can work. So the next best option was New Zealand, which was just next door to Australia. So we flew there, and then we were in Auckland, which is the main capital, for, you know, just a few days. Again, we started looking for workaways, places where you could volunteer. Again, we just had no idea. There was, like, really, you know, large communities of devotees, basically. And it was on our last day that we were due to leave, and we had found a workaway, and we were going to go to the other side of the country, that we bumped into a monk on the street.
This was in
Auckland,
in
New
Auckland.
Zealand. So we never bumped into a monk before. And it turned...
No way.
His name was Anadi, which is Vamsi's brother.
Stop.
So
Anadi and Vamsi are devotees of the Welsh Yatra. She
Yes.
bumped into Anadi in New Zealand.
Well, he was living in New Zealand for a few years as a
Wow.
monk, but and then we said, he was, like, showing us the books, and we're like, oh, we have, like, loads of those, you know, whatever. Is there anywhere we can go that's like a Krishna place? And he was like, well, actually, there's this place called The Loft. So, we went there, and then I saw this poster on the wall that said, if you're a girl aged 21 to 25, you can stay here and you can volunteer.
Wow.
So we were like, okay, yes. So we bumped off the other workaway, and we stayed there. And that was the kind of, we were taken in by a lovely devotee called Manjaranya. And that was the beginning of a life where, you know, Krishna showed us, okay, if you want to be involved in this movement, you know, you can't just go off and do what you want. You know, there's training, there's a culture. And so we were just immersed in this, you know, kind of like ashram space, and with these really amazing devotees. And then, that was it, basically. I started to realize, oh, Krishna consciousness is a lifestyle. It's not just like a book you read. And, you know, you could chant a bit of Hare Krishna, and that's what amazed me. And that was... it was just an amazing day when I realised, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my life.
That's amazing, because you guys saw that advert. It was perfect for you guys. As if, like, you were, like, what are the odds of, like, bumping into someone on your way to somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, Krishna handpicked this devotee to bring you, to be like, nope, you're coming this way. And it's like he carved out that space for you, and you were doing like social media stuff, weren't you? You were advertising for the loft.
Oh,
like
yeah.
social media, and now you're literally T. Krishna's social media person.
Yeah, it's got a bit
It's
out of
like-
hand. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's another amazing thing, is devotees just give you service
Yeah.
and responsibilities that you're absolutely not trained in, you're not qualified for. And then...
But it's like, but you are qualified because you've got the qualities for it. It's like, imagine if you hadn't had that, because you must have had that desire for surrender, for Krishna to be like, okay, you're coming with me now, like full immersion, you know. But if you didn't have that, or because like otherwise, what you probably would never have thought that your dharma or your like the work that suits your nature and your qualities the most was social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You might have like continued thinking like, I'm an Australian beach babe. What do Australian beach babes do?
That was
I don't know,
definitely
like-
the vision I'd painted for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like almost by full surrender, like you kind of realize, oh yeah, you see yourself more clearly. This is something I can relate to as well. And it was like a recent like crossover point, like palpably more surrender, because I thought, you know, I'm at uni, I thought I had my head fixed on doing research after university, like academic research, because I thought like, okay, even before I met the devotees, I was thinking, I wanted to study consciousness and like figure like what is it actually. And then I met devotees and I thought, okay, these guys have the answer. You can't get this answer in what we're studying at university. But I still had this idea in my head, okay, I know that these people have the answer, but maybe I'll do like psychological experiments on them. So, so I'll just put them all in MRI scanners and try and see what their brains look like, kind of thing. And then I'll spread Krishna consciousness like that. I'll just be like a Hare Krishna scientist that, you know, convinces people in the scientific world that what these people are saying makes sense. And I'll also, you know, be able to feel really clever. Pat myself on the back.
That's the main thing, as long as I feel good.
Yeah, as long as it's still about me.
Yeah.
But actually, I think it was like there was a turning point earlier this year when I was thinking about applying for internships for a research opportunity over summer, and I don't know, just something in me was like, I actually rang Mother Mishrani and said, hey, I'm at this crossing point, because I have this idea, like I want to do research and I have this idea of what that looks like, and then but I wasn't sure if I was doing it only for my own sense gratification, because ultimately that's all it was. I had this idea I'd be like what's his name? The devotee, the scientist devotee.
Chaitanya Chiran.
No. Atma Paradigm.
Oh, a Candidate
A Candidate Prabhu. What would be the new candidate?
Some big shoes to fill.
like yeah, I'll just, you know, but thankfully I spoke to Tarakanav and he was like, oh no, they just convinced me. It wasn't so mystical in that way, but it was a crossing point. And afterwards I realized, yeah, like it was a leap of faith, because I didn't know what my life looked like. It was like, okay, how was I going to earn money? And was I going to be able to do something that satisfies my brain? Like my nature. I didn't know what it looked like. But then I thought, no, but like what else could there be? Even if I end up just sweeping the temple, that's better. That's a better life than trying to hack it out in this world of academia, you know, where it's all just spreadsheets and you know, date, you know, like no way. And then now, like as I've kind of like trusted a little bit more and thought, okay, I don't know what it looks like, but I know that I'm gonna serve this. My life is for this temple now. and whatever service needs to be done, like trying to develop that mood. Now my natural qualities are coming out and I can see what I actually want to do. And now I think back to my plans before and I want to throw up. Think about sitting in a room, looking at a laptop the whole day, like just away from the company of devotees. Like, no way.
Throw out your plans, just like Christian
Just
Takeover.
throw them out. Yeah.
But
and now I can't, I can only imagine how much happier and happier and happier. It's like a leap of faith. You have to take that leap of faith into it. It seems like nothingness, but you get given so much more. You're actually just throwing out, like, stuff that just doesn't work, just doesn't serve you. And you're making space for what actually works. And only Krishna knows what's best for you.
And it's interesting because I heard something. There was like, our minds make so many plans for ourselves and for our lives, but it's made by the mind. And the mind, as it says in Bhagavad Gita, is made of the material elements. So anything that comes from the mind is just on the material platform. So...
Yeah. No, I've never thought of it that way.
Because Anya told me that. I'm not gonna take the credit for that one.
No, but because like we take shelter in our mental concoctions, but these mental concoctions are material, so they don't hold us.
Don't hold any value actually, and they're actually just relating temporary. To the temporary body. How can I make Anna Denning as comfortable in this lifetime as I possibly can? And next life, I'll probably be Jane Smith. Next life I'll be, well, that's even if I make it to a human body. I could be Sam the Slug next life. We don't know, but again, in a slug's body, I'll be like,
how do I find a nice moist cave to sit in?
Where's the moistest man?
I am Julie the fly. How do I find a nice spot on the wall? Hear everything. And that's just our life as a fly, trying to listen into everyone's conversations. Is it? I mean, you try and do that anyway as a human. I'm Julie the secretary now. Anyway,
I was just thinking the main kind of point from what we were saying was like, I remember you were playing a lecture when we were preparing flowers for a festival. It was a Radhanath Swami lecture, and he was saying that we don't. Our surrender in bhakti comes from the fact that we're so indebted and in love to the devotees that have taken care of us. We don't actually know what Krishna wants. We've not got the faintest. But what you hear is that Krishna's pleased if you please his devotees. So suddenly something that goes from being super ethereal, like, how do I please Krishna? It's suddenly Krishna? Brought back down to earth by, if I'm just pleasing to the devotees, then I'll be pleasing to Krishna. And it all kind of comes from there. So that's how, and that took me a long time to wrap my head around. If I just do what the devotees are asking me to do and fulfill, what they've asked, then everything is kind of unveiled by their mercy. Who, in the pure devotees, they're in touch with Krishna. They know what he wants. So if I just do what they say,
then you're pleasing God himself.
Yeah, which is insane.
I really liked what you said about that, like about we're here out of sheer gratitude for the devotees. Because it's like, I think, devotees work so hard. They've surrendered their lives, or like literally just to help others to find lasting happiness, and
they're so patient with us.
They're so patient. I'm just thinking, what, like how tolerant you were actually when I first started coming. You're making a face, but. Yeah. So
do you know what?
I can't really put it into words.
Because everyone coming out of the material energy, fresh out of the material energy, is saying so many wacky things. You have so many bizarre things to say. And I was thinking... I
remember like sitting in Atma, and I was like touching the table. And I was touching the table and saying, oh yeah, there's no difference between me and this table because we're all one. And you were there, actually. I remember you looking at me like slightly concerned. Thinking she's a nut. Yeah, but
I remember how we try and be patient with others, because I remember, if I think back to some of the things I was saying to devotees when I thought I knew everything, honestly my toes curl up. It's just awful. So I thought, well, that's what the devotees did to me, so I need to do it to others. I just need to be like,
pass it on.
Yeah, but that's the amazing thing. I thought we could just finish off with a little end note from this book. The next part on from what I read in the beginning. It said, to those rare souls who have renounced pride, do not feel a lacking in their lives. On the contrary, releasing pride creates a space within their consciousness to receive greater blessings. Most of us have experienced denying ourselves immediate gratification in order to attain a higher goal. Even though we inconvenienced ourselves in certain ways, we found that being distracted from our own particular issues invites a certain happiness and satisfaction. When we are being less self-centered, a natural solace arises. How much more so when our activity is connected with Krishna? So again, it's just the beauty of bhakti. Just immerse yourself.
Just give your all to Krishna. In just one last little thing. I think it's nice. Like in Japasanga, Adokshada Prabhu said that. Yeah, when you're chanting, like in Adokshada Prabhu said that. We're in. I have it. It's just like it doesn't. I'm talking about Kali Yuga. Basically, I'll just tell you, and then it's like a doctor just says, the way to God in this age is just to chant Hare Krishna, and that's how we can go to Him. But it doesn't mean that God has made it easy for us in this way. Just chant His holy names, give the name to someone else, and you can know me. But God still wants all of us. He wants our entirety. So even though the process is simple, he still wants 100% of us, and that's how we truly feel the bliss of loving God.
Is that full?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, full surrender.
Full surrender.
Full surrender.
But it's a slow process.
It doesn't have to be. One lifetime. We got one lifetime.
Okay.
We're done.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you would like to fully surrender, you can send Nikki an email immediately at nikki@tkrishna.com. She's waiting for you. Thank you all for listening.
We're waiting for those emails. And we're going to go check on them in the cupboard now. Feed them like a chip.
Yeah, we'll get Gopal a battery out of the cupboard now.
Yeah, just give them a little bit of air because it's not so nice. It's a bit cramped in there, I think.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Help! Help! Let us out of here! I don't like it in here. You girls are in big trouble. Let us out. Get us out. Oh, let us out of here!